Welcome to our show, State of Economy. Today, we are facing Dr. Saim Amir Faisal, financial economist. Hello, sir.
Thank you for having me. My felicitations, my greetings, and my salutations to all viewers, both home and abroad. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself for the audience?
I'm a financial economist by profession, and I'm a politician in practice as well.
At first, I would like to ask you, how is Bangladesh facing the inflationary and foreign exchange, including trade and etc.?
So first and foremost, as you understand, there is a twin, and especially on the onset of the twin inflationary and foreign exchange reserve crisis. Without any shadow of a doubt, we know that last year our foreign exchange reserve stood at $48 billion as of June 2022. As of August 2023, our foreign exchange reserves has plummeted to $23.8 billion. And first and foremost, as you understand, we have had a phenomenal export growth record. Our exports have grown by 33%. And today our export balance for the fiscal year 2022-2023 stands at $52 billion. However, our import bill presently stands at $82 billion. So as you understand, there is a fundamental trade deficit that equates to approximately negative $30 billion. Thankfully, however, because of our extremely vibrant and dynamic diaspora, we have around 15 million Bangladeshis that are presently living abroad. They repatriate they remit back approximately $20 billion to $22 billion per fiscal year. Regardless, as you understand, because of the devaluation of the Bangladeshi taka against the US dollar, and specifically because of hyperinflation that is present across Bangladesh in many different cities, in many different towns and villages, what we have noticed is a fundamental lack of policy on a monetary level. And this I say because in March 2022, the US Federal Reserve, this is the central bank of the United States of America, hiked interest rates from 0% to 5.5% as a way to control inflation, at the same time stimulate the banking sector, to protect the banking sector against devaluation of the US dollar. However, the Bangladeshi government and the Bangladeshi Central Bank failed to impose a comprehensive, a proactive monetary policy. As a result, what happened was the Bangladeshi taka, the value of the Bangladeshi taka fell by almost 25% in less than 6 months. This made our import bills 25% more expensive. This, in fact, has worsened our trade deficit. As you understand, our energy security is also in question. We have to pay, before we had to pay for $1, we had to pay 90 taka, 86 taka. Today, for the same dollar, we're having to pay 109 taka, 110 taka, 112 taka. In the open markets, in the informal markets, $1 approximately equates to around 114 taka. So as you understand, we are fundamentally poorer compared to the rest of the world because of the devaluation or the depreciation of the Bangladeshi taka against the US dollar.
Sir, please review the banking sector situation.
As you understand, we live in a globally interdependent economy. Every country is interdependent on the other, and we cannot deny the strength and power of the United States of America. Today, the banking sector, if I have to do a comprehensive analysis, I don't think we have enough of a time, or I don't think we have enough of time to do a fundamental economic autopsy. However, to get to the point is a matter of fact, if we compare the biggest financial institutions in the world, we understand the Lehman Brothers, which is one of the largest investment banks, one of the largest banks in human history, did collapse. As you understand, in the past few months, we also observed Silicon Valley Bank with deposits of $200 billion. New York Signature Bank with deposits of close to $160 billion did default. And as a result, the US federal government had to bail out these banks. As a matter of fact, in Bangladesh, the largest state-owned bank is our proudly owned Sonali Bank, which has a total deposit of around $17 billion. On the contrary, as you understand, our deposit size is fundamentally large. $17 billion is not a joke. However, in terms of loan disbursement, we have to understand that loan is disbursed with depositors' funds. And as a matter of fact, $16 billion out of the $17 billion has already been disbursed. However, who are the beneficiaries of these loan disbursements? If you look at Islami Bank, for instance, which is one of the largest private banks in the country, as well as in South Asia, total deposits again $15 billion US. However, loan disbursements, the total loan disbursements of depositors' funds has been close to $14.1 billion US. So there's a liquidity issue of around $900 million of cash reserves that is presently standing with Islami Bank. However, if a particular conglomerate or a family is being allocated close to 30% of total depositors' funds, you're risking the assets of the common depositors. This is an extremely undiversified, risky strategy that I propose to the Bangladeshi government, that there should be banking laws that protects depositors' funds, that insures depositors' funds. What happens if some of these companies default on their debt? What happens to depositors' funds? As per Bangladeshi law, you get repatriated only 1 lakh taka for the entirety of your total deposits. We all have deposits in some of the largest Bangladeshi financial institutions. And you see the condition of, or the liquidity condition, as I should say, it's quite dire in most of these financial institutions. So of course, I do propose there should be stringent policies in terms of loan disbursements. There should be stringent policies on loan repayments. And of course, there should be fair collateralized valuations before loan disbursements are made. So in the case of a default, in the case where a business, whether it's willful or unwillful, a business collapses, we do not strain depositors' funds.
Sir, you shows the overall situation. If I would ask you the personal opinion?
So look, it's quite simple for me. We have to fundamentally protect investors' assets, which is investors' deposits. These are hard-working people that have deposited either 1 lakh taka or 5 lakh taka or 10 lakh taka. And cumulatively, we have accumulated close to 10, 15, 20 billion dollars in our entire financial system. However, as we know that there are 7 to 10 banks that are facing an extremely severe, dire liquidity crisis. In the sense that the loan that has been disbursed to these conglomerates, quote unquote, their profit margins are almost non-existent. If you look at the conditions of these financial companies, if you look at the conditions of these businesses or these so-called businesses, they've turned into Ponzi schemes. If we do not protect common depositors' funds, if we do not stringently do an autopsy before disbursing debt, then we risk the safety and the sanctity of investors' assets, which is the depositors' assets in this case. So I do believe that the government should take the initiative to protect depositors' funds, and as a result, fair collateralized valuations of collateralizable assets should be incorporated before loan disbursements are made.
Sir, would you like to say about income inequality?
So this is something that I should propose, and I have discussed before as well. And I start with the question that you propose. What is the state of the income inequality that persists in Bangladesh? So as you understand, today our GDP per capita stands at $2,800 US. It's phenomenal. If you do a direct translation of these funds, approximately each Bangladeshi, according to the GDP per capita stats, each Bangladeshi makes 3,20,000 taka per fiscal year, which equates to around 27,000 taka per month. Can you assure me that in Rangpur, Kurigram, Lalmonirhat, Faridpur, Madaripur, Shariatpur, Rajbari, that every single Bangladeshi national is making 27,000 taka per month? So as you understand that, we cannot live in denialism. We cannot deny the reality of the grounds. We cannot deny the economic reality of our people. And without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest beneficiaries of our present economic system has been the top 1%. And I would be biased to say top 1%. It's the 1% of the 1%. I hope and I propose to the Bangladeshi government that we should not build our economy on a pyramid scheme where the top 500 or 1,000 families control the entirety of our state assets. That cannot be the spirit of our economic liberation. That is not the reason why we fought for our liberation. And this clearly shows that the trickle-down economic theory does not work. We need a revitalized, a transformative bottom-up economic approach. As you understand that in the present fiscal year of 2023-2024, we have declared a budget worth $70 billion across 8 divisions in Bangladesh, across 64 districts, across 4,554 unions, 327 municipalities, across 12 city corporations, across 465 city corporation wards, across 49,500 union level wards, across 86,000 villages. If the government budget was divided in uniformity across all districts, each district gets an allocation of $1 billion every fiscal year. Over a 5-year tenure, each district gets an allocation of $5 billion. We could completely abolish poverty. We could completely abolish homelessness. We could ensure financial dignity for all. We could give educational sanctity for all. We could assure healthcare for all. There is no shortage of funds in Bangladesh. What we do have is a tremendous misallocation of taxpayers' resources, of state resources. And for that reason, I say, for example, as you understand, without administrative decentralization, with provincial systems of governance, with district level governments, we cannot trickle down the reaps, the elusive gains of our economic growth. For example, I would like to give one small example.
Please.
If you look at the budget of Dhaka North City Corporation and Dhaka South City Corporation,
Yeah.
Dhaka North City Corporation gets an allocation of $700 million. Dhaka South City Corporation gets an allocation of $500 million. Combined together, Dhaka North and South, Dhaka City Corporation gets $1.2 billion per fiscal year. On the contrary, if you look at Naranggan City Corporation only gets $80 million. Rangpur City Corporation only gets $100 million. The problem is not concentration of people in our Dhaka city. The problem is the rest of the metropolitan areas in Bangladesh, whether it's Mymensingh City Corporation, whether it's Sylhet City Corporation, whether it's Rangpur City Corporation, or whether if it's Naranggan City Corporations. It's fundamentally underfunded. This is not equitable resource allocation. And unless we install and instill district level governments, we can never trickle down our wealth. The top 1% will continue to get richer and the poor will continue to get poorer, as has been the case since our liberation 52 years back. And I propose to the government that we should instill district level governments. Our education minister has to visit my constituency in Faridpur. Our health minister has to visit our constituency in Madaripur. With a centralized system, we're never going to see fundamental progress, especially for the people in the grassroots. It's never ever going to happen. It hasn't happened in the past 52 years, and unless we take the initiative to decentralize our wealth, to decentralize power, to decentralize people in positions of authority in the district level, in the sub-district level, in the union level, we're never going to see transformative change in people's lives. Yes, some people have grown 10x, 200x, 1000x. Some companies are doing amazingly well, but you calculate the GDP per capita without the richest 1% of our country. That is the undeniable truth of our economy today. I don't dispute that there has been fundamental progress, whether you talk about the state of the economy, our poverty numbers, but COVID, for example, on the onset of the COVID crisis, we were clearly exposed that almost 45% of the entire population of Bangladesh went below the poverty line. And that goes to show the fragility of our economy. It is fundamentally fragile. It is built not only on the rich, it's built on the super rich, the ultra rich, the mega rich. There has to be greater disbursement of wealth. There has to be greater egalitarian. Of course, I don't deny that in a capitalist system that there will be inequality. It is a byproduct of a capitalist system. However, if you have 100 to 500 families that are controlling maybe 80% of the state's wealth, this is an economic oligarchy. I have to bluntly say it, without any prejudice, without any partisanship or any political bias. We are headed towards an economic oligarchy. This cannot continue, with due respect.
Sir, we know education is the backbone of nation. What is your observation and short analysis for this?
As you may know, I was a professor at a private university in the Department of Economics. And my common perception was that I used to always tell my students that, look, I don't want your fathers to sell their lands to send you to college or university. The education that you can receive via YouTube or Udemy, it makes no sense for you to come to lecture halls. It's as simple as that. Education or educational institutions, the concept of university is acquiring universal knowledge. However, our universities are only focused on taught courses. Unfortunately, these universities have to be transformed into researching hubs. Unless we have MPhil and PhD degrees or researching degrees, the point of university is completely mundane. And as a result of that, as you may well be aware, if you look at the R&D expenditure as a proportion of GDP of Israel, for instance, they're spending 8% of their GDP on research and development. South Korea is the technological powerhouse. They're spending 4% of their GDP on research and development. On the contrary, Bangladesh is only spending 0.3% of their GDP on research and development. So as you understand, there is a massive disparity. Bangladeshi government and our private and public universities need to invest in research and development. They need to invest in cutting-edge technology. If we want to compete with the OECD countries, if we want to compete with the G20 countries. Again, I stress to the point that Bangladesh by no means is a poor country. Bangladesh today is the 35th richest country in the world. On PPP terms, if you adjust for purchasing power parity, Bangladesh is the 27th richest country in the world. It is absolutely not a poor country. However, what we do have is a tremendous misallocation of resources. What we do have is a tremendous inequality of wealth, irregularized distribution of wealth.
Now, another topic is technology. What is your observation about technology system?
Honestly, I do believe that Bangladesh in the next 5 to 10 years will not only be a part of the G20 economy, but I honestly do believe that Bangladesh has the potential to be a $2 trillion economy. There is absolutely no doubt. If we are the 35th richest country in the world today, imagine if we have sustained continuity. Imagine if we have inclusive prosperity, where we incorporate the people in the grassroots into our mainstream economic arena. Imagine the potential. And the only way we can do that is if we unleash Bangladeshi entrepreneurial spirit. We have to ensure that there are structural changes. The structural framework allows for entrepreneurs to grow. And I propose to the government of Bangladesh to take a startup seed fund to invest across 4,554 unions, to invest in union-level startups. As a result, we again will avoid the concentration of wealth in the mainstream of Dhaka city, north and south. And this is the age of artificial intelligence. This is the age of mRNA technology. This is the age of DNA sequencing. And without a shadow of a doubt, this is the age of robotics. We have to facilitate our young entrepreneurs. And mind you, that 80% of the entirety of the Bangladeshi population is below the age of 35. Imagine what we can do if we could only mobilize and take full advantage of our demographic dividend. Imagine where Bangladesh could be in the next 5-10 years. I do believe with proper centralized planning, with effective decentralization of wealth and power, Bangladesh can transform itself as a startup nation. Bangladesh can transform itself into a dynamic, thriving, inclusive economy that can be the pride of not only Asia but of the world.
Okay. In technology world, recently a robot news presenter introduced.
Correct.
What is your
Absolutely.
opinion?
Yes, I mean, we cannot deny the power of artificial intelligence. It's only a matter of time, not if. It's only a matter of time until AI takes over the world. Look at the power of ChatGPT and the power of Microsoft, Apple, Google, Tesla. We're using their products every single second of the day, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's Facebook Messenger, whatever it may be. We're using their products every single step of the way. However, what can we do as Bangladeshis to make investments or make strategic investments? And I have a proposition here, and I thank you for raising the point. The Norwegian pension fund. I know that Bangladesh recently has inaugurated a nationwide pension fund for our pensioners. The Norwegian pension fund has an accumulated wealth totaling close to $1.2 trillion. They made a strategic investment in Apple in 2016 worth $1 billion. Today, the investment has reaped almost 800% returns over the past 7-8 years. Imagine if the Bangladeshi government could invest or allow retail investors, common investors to invest in global financial markets. Our only investment schemes in Bangladesh is the Sanchoy Potro and fixed deposit. Fixed deposit gives you a 7% net return. Sanchoy Potro gives a return of 10%. When in a country where inflation is at 12% or 14%, we're losing money by investing, not making money. So I propose to the Bangladeshi government that through formal banking channels, allow Bangladeshi investors to invest in global financial markets. Allow them to invest in companies like Google, Apple, Tesla, Meta, etc. Apple, for instance, has a net cash reserve worth $166 billion. We cannot deny the power of American big tech.
Exactly.
We have to allow Bangladeshi investors to make these strategic investments for their betterment and for the betterment of our pensioners in the future.
Finally, sir, would you like to say something about our political situation?
Look, as you understand, politics and economics are intertwined. It's absolutely interdependent on one another.
Yeah, also interrelated.
Absolutely. Without economic cohesion, without economic equity, we're never going to have political stability. As on the onset of the twin inflationary and the foreign exchange reserve crisis, with depleting wages, with rising inflation, we have to ensure for the greater political stability, not only of Dhaka, but rest of Bangladesh, we need, first and foremost, enforcement of rule of law. The justice system has to remain independent. The judiciary cannot be weaponized. We need enforcement of property rights. We need enforcement of exercising freedom of speech. We dream of a country where our economy, where our government is built on a meritocratic platform. We hope that Bangladesh can give us, our voters will have the right to have a thriving electoral democracy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saim Amir Faisal, sir. It was very nice talking with you, and
thank you very much for having me.
It's fruitful for audience too. They know the different topic and your point of view. Thank you so much, sir. Finally, would you like to say something to the audience?
We dream of a Bangladesh that is inclusive, that is thriving, where property laws are ensured, where property rights are assured, where rule of law is established, and we dream of a Bangladesh where social equity does persist. And we hope that through the barriers that we're breaching today, that we will truly build a golden Bangladesh for the future generations to come. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.